Hey guys, so I know this is a tricky homework assignment, so I'm going to go through the last 3 problems in particular on homework 11 for day 3. Okay, hopefully the rest are problems that you're able to work through yourself. But starting here with number 10 on homework 11 for day 3, the first thing we need is a common denominator. So in order to do that, we need to factor. So over here on the left, the fraction has nothing to factor, so I leave it the way it is. On the right, the numerator cannot be factored, but the denominator can be factored using GCF, okay? So I'm going to leave my left fraction 2m over m minus 1. Notice I put that m minus 1 in parentheses to remind me that they're glued together. For my second fraction, I leave the m in the numerator. In the denominator, when I GCF the 2m minus 2, my GCF is 2. In parentheses, I would be left with m minus 1. So hopefully, we are able to start to see our common denominator. Okay, so the common denominator that we should be looking for is 2m minus 1, because both of the denominators can be turned into that. Over here on the right, I already have the common denominator, so I don't need to do anything. However, this fraction on the left still needs to become my common denominator. However, this fraction on the left still needs the common denominator. So in order to get the common denominator, I'm just going to multiply by 2. And if I multiply the bottom by 2, I need to multiply the top by 2. So now what I should have is 4m over 2m minus 1 plus m over 2m minus 1. So from here, all I do is I add my numerators. 4m plus m, remember there's an invisible 1 here, so that gives me 5m. I keep my denominator the same, 2m minus 1, and that's it. That's my final answer for number 10. Okay, so first we factor, then we get a common denominator, and then we just add straight across the top. Let's move to question number 11. All right, so in question number 11, the process is going to be pretty similar, okay? We need to get a common denominator, so in order to do that, we're going to factor. So the numerators are good, but on the left fraction in the denominator, I'm going to use GCF. On the right fraction in the denominator, I am also going to use GCF. So when I do that, I end up with 3c over 3c minus 4 minus c over 2c minus 4. Okay, guys? So we see how I GCF'd each of those denominators. Now, really important to identify what that common denominator is going to be. And so they both share the c minus 4. So the only thing that we need to make common are these numbers, the 3 and the 2. What can they both multiply to? They can both multiply to 6. So my common denominator is going to be 6c minus 4. Okay, so that's what I want both of my new fractions to read. I want both of them to have 6c minus 4 on the bottom. All right, so in order to make that happen, I need to multiply. Here on my left fraction, the only thing that's missing is times 2. So let me erase this a little bit so we can see that. So I'm going to do times 2 on the bottom, but if I do times 2 on the bottom, I have to do times 2 on the top. All right, so now in the numerator, I'm end up with 6c. Here on my right fraction, to get the common denominator, I just need to do times 3. But if I do times 3 on the bottom, I do times 3 on top. So I end up with 3c on top. Okay, so notice here we are. I have my 2 new fractions with common denominators. So now I just subtract my numerators. 6c minus 3c gives me 3c. Over, I keep my denominator, 6 over c minus 4. Now in this case, I do have one final step, because this 3 over 6 can be simplified. Just like any fraction, it can become 1/2. So 1c over, oh, and I apologize. So 1c over 2c minus 4. Okay, guys? So this would be our final answer. And keep in mind that a lot of times that 1 will be invisible. Okay? So there is the work for number 11, and we are going to do the work for number 12. All right, so here we go with number 12. All right, this one has nothing to factor, but we still need a common denominator. Okay, so the common denominator is just going to come from those bottom numbers. So my common denominator here in number 12 is just going to be y plus 2, y minus 2, because there's nothing else that they share. So for this left fraction, I need to multiply the denominator by y minus 2, and I do the numerator times y minus 2. On the right fraction, I need to multiply the denominator times y plus 2, and the numerator times y plus 2 as well. Okay, because I want my fraction to read y plus 2, y minus 2, plus y plus 2, y minus 2. I want these denominators to be the same. So now let's take a look at the numerators. Remember, the denominators we don't need to distribute, but in the numerators we do. So I distribute that y, and I end up with y squared minus 2y. Over here for my second one as well, I distribute this 2y. So 2y times y and 2y times 2. So I get 2y squared plus 4y. So now my last step is to add this numerator. So I have y squared plus 2y squared. So I end up with 3y squared. I have negative 2y plus 4y. So I get positive 2y over y plus 2, y minus 2. Okay, guys? So this right here would be my final answer for number 12. All right? I know this lesson's a little bit tricky. Okay, we'll make sure on your test I'm not going to give you a ton of these super hard ones. It's mostly going to be like problems number 1 through 9. All right, guys? Let me know if you have any more questions here in the comments.